Hi. In this video, we would be talking about parameters, and mostly we would discuss around parameters with filters and parameters with sets, right? So, basically, what is parameter? Parameter is nothing but a dynamic value which you can pass to your charts or in order to interact with your charts here, right? And let's do one thing. Let's start with parameter with filters here. And so basically what data I'm trying to utilize here is, you see here I have IPL data which I have pulled out from the Kaggle website. You can visit and download this data from here. And before loading this data to my Tableau dashboards, I have just filtered out and I've selected only for the 2019 season data here. And so let's do one thing. I'll just draw a bar chart here, and then I'll try to uh, get the total runs scored by a batsman uh, in this specific 2019 season, right? So let me just drag this batters to my row here, and I will just drag the total runs into the columns. And basically I'll just sort this data by descending order. So you can see here I have my batter name along with their scores, what they have scored throughout that season, and you can see the total runs what they have scored. Right now, let's understand in this way, right? Yeah, so let's understand in this way that you want the top 5 batsmen or top 10 batsmen who has scored most of the runs in this season, right? So what I would do, I'll just drag this batter into my field box here, and I would go to the top options and I'll select by field. And basically I want to select the top 10 batsmen here in this case, right? So I'll just select 10 and hit and apply here, right? And I'll click on OK. So you can see here I see the top 10 batsmen who have scored the most of the runs in the season 2019 of IPL, right? Now think in this perspective. When you're trying to create a dashboard, right? In dashboards the user uh, needs to have some kind of flexibility or a kind of options where he can choose the options uh, between 5, 10, 15. I mean, he wants to highlight the top 15 batsmen, top 10 batsmen, top 5 batsmen. It should be a kind of a dynamic way of filtering the data, right? So let's say tomorrow, if your user says that I do not want to see the top 10 batsmen, instead I want to see the top 15 in the list here in this graph, right? So you have to go to your filter settings and you have to edit the filter and change your values to from 10 to 15, right? So this would be a bit tricky, and each time you have to come and change these things in the settings, and uh, you have to highlight the data based on that, right? Here in this case, your parameters comes to a pictures which can help you in this situations, right? So parameters is nothing but a kind of a dynamic, it can accept a dynamic values, or it helps the users to pass a dynamic values to filter the data according to his requirements, right? So let's do one thing. We'll create a parameters uh, where the user can filter the data dynamically based on his requirement, right? So what you have to do, you have to go to this filter. You have this batter, right? Click on this drop down, click on the option as edit filter, go to the stop options, and in this by field top 15 is written here, right? So in this case, just click on this drop down, click on create new parameters, right? It allows you to create a parameter. So once you create a parameter, you have to just provide the name of your parameter through which you can identify it later. So let's say I'll just rename my parameter as top n batsman, right? I would like to filter out these numbers or these many numbers of batsmen in my data. And I'll just set my current value to 5. Basically, I just want to highlight uh, then one static value. I'll just try to highlight at 5. and I'll set the range where I would give the options to user to switch or uh, like pass the numbers between this range to filter out the data, right? In this case, I will just choose between 1 to 15, and this is how I can define my parameters. And I'll click on OK, and I'll hit up and apply here, right? So, and I'll just further click on OK here. So as soon as I click on this one, you can see there's a parameter that has been created here that is called top n, and on the right hand side you can see I can view the parameter here. Let's say now this is quite dynamic, and if user tomorrow user wants to see the top 10 batsmen, right? So he can just slide his uh, option here, and he can drag from left to right the slider, and he can filter out the data dynamically, right? So if you see I have filtered or I have just moved my slider to the right hand side, and I'm just trying to select the top 10 here, dynamically the data is being getting is trying to be updated here, right? This is how I see or user has a capability to switch or pass dynamic values. You have one more options. So this is a kind of a slider, right? There is one more options where you can change this uh, actually type, where you can allow the users to enter a value, right? So if I just click here, now if you see I can pass a value instead of sliding it, right? So let's say if I just want to see top 7, right? And I can just hit on enter here, and you see the data is changing dynamically based on that. This is a concept of parameters which you see here along with a specific filter what you had applied. This is a concept of parameter with filters. Now let's go to parameter with sets, right? So here we are not going to use a filter. Instead, we are going to create a set and use it along with the filter. Use it along with parameters. Sorry, not filters. We are going to use it along with the parameters. So let me just do one thing. I'll just draw my bar chart here, and I'll just drag my total runs here, and I would just simply sort this entire data here, right? So in this case, my goal is to highlight the bars here based on certain conditions, or not conditions. I would say certain set of elements, right? Basically, set is nothing but a collection of elements, right? You have certain elements which you want to pass. So here in this case, I want to highlight the bars for only the batsman who has scored the top runs, right? Let's say I want to highlight top 5 batsmen or top 10 batsmen here. So I just want to highlight those bars in colors, and the rest other bars should be grayed out actually, basically, right? So that I can distinguish that these are the top batsmen based on the certain elements what I have shortlisted, right? Let's do one thing. We would create a set here. Now how do you create a set? So basically you need to filter or sorry, not filter, basically you need to uh, get the batsmen, or you need to highlight the colors based on these batsmen, right? So you have to just go on this batter, click on this drop down. You have an options to create a set, right? Click on this create, go to set, give a name of your set here. Let's say I would give my set name as my set, right? And I would choose the option as top by field. And here, instead of selecting any specific number, I would choose the parameter, right? You remember the parameter with filters, we had created a parameter called top n, right? I would just basically use that such that when I'm trying to use the parameters along with the sets, the chart would be dynamic according to that, right? So I'm choosing this parameter top n, and I would click OK. You can also create a new parameters if required, but here in this case I'm choosing top n, and I would click on OK here. So you see now I have my set along with the parameters, right? Now let's do one thing. I'll just bring up this parameters on my right hand side here so that I can uh, change the data dynamically. So I'll just click on this drop down, and I'll come to this show parameter control. So you can see I can see my parameters on the right hand side. Now what I would do, I'll just drag this set into colors here, right? So I'll just drag here. See, so now what you see here, you have the parameter says that top n, right? So the set tries to create a 7 elements here, right? Here the elements is your batter name, who has scored most of the runs. So here it is just trying to highlight the top 7 batsmen, and the rest of the bars you can see it is already grayed out, right? Let's do one thing. I'll just move my slider to top 10 here. You would see the data is getting updated dynamically based on that, right? So if you see here, my data is getting updated. So here in this case, what is happening? In this case, it is trying to create n number of elements. The set is trying to create n number of elements based on the total score a batsman has, total runs a batsman has scored in this season, right? And it is trying to highlight only those bars. So this is all about parameters with sets and parameters with filters, what you had seen. Thank you.